Hello, and welcome to Minecraft. Uh, okay, so, uh, last time I did make, it was the cow pun, right? Made the cow farm. I did a little bit of work, which is an understatement. Excuse me. Um, so, I, I think, I don't know if it was last time I showed the swamp that I made. Or maybe I planned to show it, or something like that. Or planned to do it that stream, or I gave up. Well, I spent the last week making the swamp, and here it is. It is a complete uh swamp. Well, actually, not technically. Not, it's not totally complete. I uh did not have time, rather, to put decorations like slabs and fences on most of the trees, but the trees, the the part that was most difficult to do and time consuming, I did complete. Uh, and all of them are pretty much unique, but most of them just follow like the same like design. Uh, got mangrove wood, mangrove leaves, roots, and I try to make it look a little bit natural, make it uh kind of like how it is for the regular mangrove swamp. I don't know why I'm swimming. I have a raft sitting over by the house, but I mean I think it looks pretty good. And once I fill it all up with a few firefly bushes. Imagine if there were dragonflies in Minecraft. I don't know if I'll put vines though. Vines kind of make the world laggier, so I might not put that, but I'm thinking I might instead put maybe like glowberries on some of the trees to make it uh more lit up at night. Um, but yeah, and as far as that goes, that's pretty much complete. But today I'm thinking um could get on with some pig action, making a place to put the pigs. I'm thinking right next to the, the cows would be the best place to put it. What's that? What's a fox? Um. Oh, hi, spider. Uh. Oh, creeper. It's a cool cave down here. I did indeed. What do you call it? Cut down some trees in the area that I wanted to build the um the forestry area where I could grow trees without being like too far away or too intrusive on things, and just like sit there AFK and let them grow and go on from there. And I did come across a cave system. I think this might be part of that same cave system that I discovered. What was that? Did y'all hear that? Oh, it's a zombie villager. Of course. Okay. Well, that's not what I wanted to do today. Today I did want to make a pig pen. Put the pigs, and perchance maybe also build a fishing hut in the middle island that I left open. Just so I could like have like a place to fish, in this swamp area, and a place that I can set my boat off and go down the river if need be. Um, So I'm thinking like around here. Like I'm thinking down there, but also like up here as well. But probably down there because down there, um, it just like makes more sense to have like a place where like mud would settle. You see, we turn down the music a little bit, just a little bit. So yeah, you know, that's what I've been doing all week. Just that. And I listened uh to Wendigoon's video on the Mother Horse Eyes ARG series, and it was kind of a trip, not gonna lie. It was a lot to get through. Very thick storytelling with that one. Um I don't even know how I would describe it. I mean, in the story itself, Mother Horse Eyes is described as like a Lovecraftian being that cannot really be described in any way. Um, Beyond it being like an entity beyond our comprehension. So that at that point you kind of have to levy some ground there. Now, what am I gonna put on top? What am I gonna put on top? Maybe cobblestone. Go basic. So yeah, it's fun getting through that, and I think I found some appreciation for storytelling in that one. Um, and it got me thinking about Elden Ring again because in the Mother Horse Eyes series, uh, the entity known as Mother or Mother Horse Eyes is described as like this, not as like a feminine or necessarily a womanly figure. Let me get some scaffolding, these trees, but more or less like an not even an agent. To me, it sounds more like a force of nature that it's kind of like back and forth if it causes things to happen or if it wants things to happen. I'm leaning towards that it wants to, and that it kind of like leads people into doing things that are harmful or otherwise things they don't really want to do. Kind of like how Wendigoon describes Satan in the comparison he makes with Mother Horse Eyes and the devil as this being, this antichrist that leads people astray in their judgment. And it got me thinking. This kind of reminds me of how the Mother of Truth is talked about in Elden Ring lore. And for those of you who don't know, the Mother of Truth in Elden Ring is this outer god character, and outer god uh in Elden Ring's universe are beings that exist outside the physical realm that us mortals inhabit, and certainly that other beings inhabit. And one of these is called the Mother of Truth or the Formless Mother. And the way that she is described is this entity that is able to bestow power upon those who bear accursed blood. And in the context of Elden Ring's story, you learn about one, or actually two such people, but more accurately, one such person who gets this power from him being a being called an omen. And in the world of Elden Ring, omen are people who are born with horns on the body, face, and bear extreme amount of strength, and they are thereby cursed by the powers that be for having these horns in their body, and it goes into the DLC lore if you want to learn more about that. But because of this accursedment by the Golden Order, uh, this formless mother seems to have taken a liking to Moog, or at the very least sees it good enough to bestow power upon someone who has uh, been cursed. And in the Mother Horse Eyes series, there are a tribe of people who have been given a gift of like magical time manipulation abilities, or like reality bending abilities or some shit like that. And and this power that they've been given is kind of like been lost by some people. But those who bear this power are able to use it with great effect. And it just reminded me of the Mother of Truth, you know? And it got me thinking a bit about what her nature really means for Elden Ring's universe, you see, because she, or it, I guess, in Mother Horse Eyes, what she's described as, is more like a force. And so is the Formless Mother, kind of, in my interpretation of how her story is told. And if you haven't watched my series on, well, I guess not my series, but my lore timeline video, you might know a bit more about all of that, but how my stance is on that more. But in my interpretation of what the Formless Mother is right now, is a being that is existing within the willpower of people. Some may say she is the lifeblood of every living being that exists, but that she really does have some innate ability to know who is cursed and who isn't, and therein is able to gauge whether or not these people are even worthy of being bestowed power. And for Moog and his brother Morgott, they were given the ability to alight their blood with fire and use this power in gaining authority over people, how they used it. And in the case of the Blood Fiends, who are people that were being purged by America's, let's say America, by America's crusade, they also contacted the Formless Mother through their tutelary deities that they had staged in their villages. I did not mean to fall down here, but these deities are people who are kind of like the monks you may have read about in like in stories about like Buddhists who sit incredibly still, and then they reach a state of nirvana. That's kind of like what those tutelary deities are all about. And in the fires that purged the horn scent, there were a clan of people who had viewed a twisted deity within their ancestor's corpse, in the shadow of it. And they had, through what I would probably deem as a number of ritualistic, maybe sacrifices, or maybe perhaps communion of some sort, they were able to really make contact. That's very bloodborne in me saying that, but yes, they did. They did make contact with this being, and they were transformed into the Blood Fiends, which are more akin to like rat men, but like very bulky, very I would even say, to go as far as to say, they almost look like demi-humans, but larger, meaner, without the added ability to get stronger at night. But they have the same powers that Moog has, with being able to alight their blood in fire. And I think that's like a hallmark, a noticeable sign that the formless mother has touched someone. And this relation to fire is something that has proliferated throughout a lot of Elden Ring's characters. And in the realm of the gods, fire is really only associated with beings that have probably the most immense power and are more closer, in my opinion, to the most divine, the greater will. So when I think of the formless mother, I think of a being that is probably so powerful that she is able to stand next to the most powerful. And who knows, she may even be beyond the greater will even. She could even be its mother. You know, as Ymir in the DLC says, we all need a mother, don't we? So yes, it is quite possible that she could be mother of the gods, but that is just out there speculation that I would not take seriously as much as she is more of a deistic figure for mortals on the ground. But what does this mean? Well, I think that in Elden Ring's story, there are a number of beings that are able to bestow blessings upon people, but that most of these blessings come with a downside. Her blessings, the mother's blessings, they don't necessarily seem all that bad on the face of it. Really, I would say it's kind of like a good deal. I mean, you get great strength, your blood is on fire, so maybe that's not that, you know, that great, but you do gain some real connective power with her. And often I think about what it truly means in like the world of Elden Ring to have this being that's kind of like always there in the background even of what in their universe is the most powerful of them all. And I don't quite know what it means. It's a very difficult conundrum to have to deal with. You see? Because on one hand, you have a being so powerful it might as well be akin to the god. that we know of in our world, you know, Yahweh or Allah or any other. Then you have like a motherly associated figure that doesn't necessarily have any ties to femininity, but nevertheless is called a mother, and most associates with men, as far as I could tell. I know I don't quite know what it all means. It's kind of like you're staring into like the eye of some horrific truth, but you can't quite gauge what its purpose is in being there in front of you. And that really is how I feel about that character. I don't quite know what its purpose is in the story. My thought is that perhaps the mother's purpose in the story is as a parallel to Marika and her almost like is there a right for this? She abandons all her children. This absentee mentality, one could say, of letting her children go in such a flippant manner. Something that seemingly has caused them to lose their marbles, is all, as far as I could tell. And yeah, it's very strange. And I don't mean to say that necessarily she brought upon the world Marika. No, I don't think she did. I think this character, this formless mother, has always been there. Just kind of like in the background, just waiting one day for someone to commune with her. And it just so happened to be Marika's two sons, who were afflicted with a curse that she did have a hand in. We know from the Horn-Sent Grandam that there are curses associated with the omen. She even says that she hopes the omen curse takes everything from her. Marika, that is. And so it is very possible that after the purging of the Horn-Sent, that either the Grandam or a collection of powerful sages within Horn-Sent society decided it was a good enough judgment, retribution, to curse Marika's children therein with the curse of something called the Omen. And this curse has seemed to have only proliferated through only one set of her children. And I don't mean to say that it's not possible that other children were affected with this curse. No. What I mean to say is that in a very real way, I do think that it was the Horn-Sent that cursed her children. And I don't want to say I feel for her. I don't. But I kind of understand why she chose to hide away her children. I don't condone it, but I understand. Here's Marika having slaughtered an entire population of people, only to have her children that she has with her new husband come out to be of the same likeness to those people she just massacred. And this curse was so terrifying to her that she decided to abandon her children entirely. Put them underground, put them out of eye's reach, and go a step further and put any other people affected by this omen curse underground, out of sight, out of mind. And it's that absentee mentality that I really, really do think kind of came back to bite her in the end. And I guess, like, on the face of it, one could simply, pass it off as a how do you say, a fear, but I really like a base fear. But I think she really did see something in all of that that freaked her out, and it caused her to be beside herself and leave entirely. I'm kind of like going back and forth if I should get uh I don't quite know. Maybe mangrove wood? I got a lot of it. How's this combination look? Maybe birch logs? Yeah, I kind of like that. Okay. So yeah, I really do think that she had a great fear, because I think she knew what the curse meant, and she didn't put it away because her children were necessarily growing these things. No, I think she was in fear because she thought that this curse, and maybe she was right, that this curse had real power over people in some way. You don't necessarily see these omen and good spirits. They're very spiteful, very spiteful, and I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's a product of America's seemingly abandontive tendency. Now, what should I make the roof out of? I'm thinking maybe diorite. And that's a lot of the themes in Elden Ring revolve around parents abandoning their children. And when I think about this tendency by characters in Elden Ring abandoning their children, I think about Moog and how he didn't grow up with a mother, but he found one within the mother truth. And I think that's very poetic. It's very poetic, and I think it lends itself some form of. I just thought about the combination of blocks here. I don't really like it that much. I mean, I just think that Moog deserves better, is all I'm trying to say. Now, what can I put as the roof? Oh, excuse me. I don't want to make it like anything. We just dark oak. Have an idea. But yeah, the Mother of Truth is very like enigmatic figure that many have theorized about her true nature. To me, I don't think she has a true nature that can be really attained. I think she is very like out there. She's like a this voice in the night. In a very real way, she's very scary. Very scary indeed. Whoops. God, I wanted to make it like this. Hmm. 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 No, not like that. But yeah, no, it's just something I've been thinking about quite a lot actually. Because as someone who has looked into Elden Ring's story so deeply, I I often think about the formless mother as a character because her appearance in the game very much like warrants your attention every time she pops up because you don't really know like when she's going to, but when she does, it's like you have to like hold your breath because you don't quite know what her intentions are beyond giving the downtrodden the power of seemingly whatever she desires. And on the topic of desire, it got me thinking more about the Abyssal Serpent. Because in the Mother Horse Eyes series that Windigoon talked about, he talked about the base desires of people in relation to how Lucifer, or the devil really, kind of like exploits those desires of humans in order to get what he wants. And it got me thinking about the Formless Mother in a way, because she kind of also does that. She does this, but she doesn't really have any stake in getting what she wants. She gets what she wants, yes, but she doesn't really have a way to grasp the reward of getting someone to that point. And so one can't really find any reason as to why she tries so hard to get what she wants, because you don't really get an answer from her. You only get the conclusion of what she wants. Her actions give you the answer. And even then, we don't necessarily know her nature. We only know what she may look like. When you use a couple of items associated with her, you have to actually stab your hand into her body, and her body is formed through this like puddle of blood that appears in the middle of the air. It's a very like out there being to such an extent that it cannot be physically present. And I think in this way, really, the Formless Mother lends herself kind of the ability to fall in that Lovecraftian type area of literature, where she is only able to be seen by other characters through her actions, not what her physical self is. And a lot of divinity in Elden Ring is portrayed this way. And I think that's quite the reason why I'm so allured to the game, because of that. That divinity is not something that can be perceived by mortals or even by those who already have obtained eternal life. It's something that just simply cannot be perceived. But not without trying, that is. People have, indeed, in the games, perceived this divinity, but not a lot come back unscathed. And I think it's very like, I don't know if you know about the book by H.P. Lovecraft, The Shape of Water. It very much so reminds me of that. This unknowable color that causes those who gaze into it to go mad. And in a lot of ways, a lot of the outer gods in Elden Ring remind me of that. These formless, almost naturalistic, in the sense that they come from nature beings. And I guess what I'm saying is that this commentary that's being had, this meta commentary that's being had, is one of a criticism of the base desires of humanity, the simple pleasures that have appeared through the many different how should I say this? This need, I guess you could say, for people to find purchase within one another via the pleasures of one another, and that these pleasures can only be derived by taking from each other rather than through the natural means of simple love and cooperation. It's almost nihilistic in a way, like if to be described like this. That's simply how it is in the realm of Elden Ring, is the way I see it. And in that sense, I now understand more why the character Goldmask has his own criticism towards the fickleness or indecisiveness of the gods. No better than men. And I agree. The gods seem to be very fickle, indecisive of who they bestow blessings on, or even if they want to keep the blessings that they've been given. That this divinity may not even be worth keeping around. And I think it's also a criticism of people in general, of our fickleness, and that there are people out there that do indeed want to exploit this fickleness of ourselves. And that all it takes is that one person to do it. So I don't know. It's just been something I've been thinking about, because it's just so pervasive throughout Elden Ring's story to have people lose their sense of humanity via obtaining these base pleasures. And that's kind of like the reason why I think about the Abyssal Serpent so much in relation to Mesmer the Impaler. This Abyssal Serpent, this base serpent, base meaning low of moral character, evil, but also the other definition of base, which is at the base of it, at the base of a tree, at the very bottom of something. And I am of the belief that this something is close to the truth of everything. That therein being the truth behind reality. And honestly, I feel like Queen America was close in getting to this divinity. So close, in fact, that she was killed for it. That she was imprisoned for it. That this snake that rises within every person, even the gods, is therein able to affect them. Oh, hi Vivian. I'm rambling about Elden Ring lore again. Also building a pig pen. This conversation is blowing my brain. I'm sorry. Finally a place for the cops. True. Yeah, I just need to get the... Just kidding, that's the graveyard. So true! Yeah, I need to find some pigs. I don't know where to find them. You don't have a Dunkin' Donuts nearby, so... They like carrots, right? But I also remember they like potatoes too. I'll bring both. So I don't know. It's just something I think about a lot because when Windigoon talked about the Mother Horse Eye series, it just got me thinking about why this being in Elden Ring existed. And I think I kind of got my answer. It's a being that has to exist at the bottom of everything because there just has to be. There has to be an endpoint to all the questions. And I think that answer is with the Forest Mother. The only problem that she has presented is that we don't necessarily know her nature beyond her actions through others and how she affects them. And really, there's only a couple of people, or peoples, I guess I should say, that are related to the Formless Mother. Moog, the Omens, and the Blood Fiends. The issue is that she also may be associated with the healing powers of the plague doctors that worked with the Flymen, trying to cure them. Or she could be associated with the women who worship the godskins in the windmill village Damula, because they bite themselves and they gain energy. You know, power through blood. And in that similar nature, so does Mother Horse Eyes. She gains power through blood. More specifically, she bestows power upon those who, I guess, she deems worthy. It's not necessarily that, it's just that's the best definition I could give it. And I don't know. The Mother of Truth, that name alone, kind of like already answers the question for those who want to know more about Elden Ring's story. If you want to find the truth to everything, look to her. But then you just have like other characters like the Abyssal Serpent, the Bell God, and the Greater Will that, and even the Lightless Abyss itself. And now you have in Night Rain, whether or not it's actually part of base Elden Ring's story, the Outer God of Night. And when you think about how the Astels, these malformed stars, are born in the lightless void far away, something has to be birthing this stuff. Is it the Greater Will, or is it the Mother of Truth? The formless mother, the mother to everything? I don't quite know. And that lack of knowledge that always appears with a lot of Elden Ring's questions can only be answered by the Mother of Truth, I feel. Sometimes I feel that way, and I think Miyazaki and his team want us to ask ourselves, is this character associated with this or not? And so connecting and comparing with the Mother of Truth and the Abyssal Serpent, are these two related? To me, the answer is probably yes. If it's the case that the Abyssal Serpent, and I've talked about this in my lore timeline, is this entity, almost a force of nature, that exists at the bottom of everything. The crucible of life exists as a spiral. Snakes in Elden Ring have always been associated with spirals. In real life, they have been associated with spirals. It is the spiral, this DNA of life, that has formed a symbolic link that cannot be ignored in the game. Symbology is very important to Elden Ring's story, understanding the relations between things. So when you look at the formless mother who only has been associated with Omen, these beings who have been cursed by people who were close to the Crucible, or who also worshipped it, you might think to yourself, well, hey, then that has to be the case, that this base serpent must be related to the Mother of Truth in some way. You might even say it is a mother snake birthing things out from nothing, or out to maybe fulfill some desire. And going into like the clouds of this one, but I feel like the base desire and base desire for Mother Horse Eyes, that series, it seems to be the desire to pleasure oneself, to find self-pleasure within oneself. In the story, there are people who go into virtual reality, and they seem to get bored very easily. And when they can't find the satisfaction within these virtual stories, they begin to pleasure themselves in an attempt to gain that attention span that they've lost, to find that short dopamine burst they've lost. And in Elden Ring, I think the base desire is, yes, pleasure, but it's a very specific pleasure. And I think this pleasure is associated with gluttony, greed, even, entwined with one another. And I say this because, not only because symbolism within Elden Ring with the snake always appears with a snake devouring the world and the people beneath it helping it, even. Helping this giant serpent to devour everything. Even when that means that we cease to exist as a result. People in the lands between gain energy of defense, of attack, this power, through devouring food. Something that you don't really have to do in the lands between anymore. Your life is eternal thanks to Queen Marika. It doesn't necessarily matter anymore. But nevertheless, people do, in fact, find the desire to consume, and they have discovered through consumption the ability to gain power. We see this through Godric the Grafted, who took children, people, dragons even, and attached them to himself. And he gained power through that, however cursed it might be, both in literal and a metaphorical sense. We see it in Rykard, who fed himself to the Great Serpent to gain immortality and great power. We see it in Tanith, who wished to devour Rykard's corpse after we defeat him, so that he could live on within her, so she could carry the power that he had obtained, that he could not therein keep because he's dead. We see it we see it even in the worm faces, these beings who have their mouths stuffed with worms. Worms are able to bestow death upon people. But these worm faces do not die from these worms. They are the bearers of these worms. They keep these worms inside them. They're basically like pseudo-parents in that way, I think. And of course we see it throughout like all of them, even with the women of Dominula, who bite themselves, devour their own blood and flesh, so they could use the power gained from that back at us. We see it in the Godskins, the people that the women of Dominula seemingly worship, who flay the skin of the gods so that they could gain power from the gods. We know that they have at least one power that you read through the I think it's called the Black Flame Nobility spell or some shit like that. And it said that it was a trophy of the Godskin hunt that this power is derived from. And to me, that says that this power was once part of the gods' therein arsenal, or at the very least, they had this gusto, as the description says, to wield power. We see the snake again, this gluttony within the Dragon Communion soldiers, who, by the direction of the ancient dragons, to devour the hearts of dragons to gain power, though of course in this process they turn into magma worms, essentially lightless dragons to therein, as the description says, to lie upon their bellies and crawl like a snake. Well, not to crawl like a snake, but to lie on their bellies, which is, of course, is an allusion towards the Bible and talking about the snake, Lucifer, Satan, and God telling him to crawl on his belly in a driving tone. Even the ancient dragons weren't. Besides from this gluttony, they also devoured the gods, or as described by them, low-born kin. I could keep going. There are many examples of this gluttony, this greed, this envy that is deep within humanity, and it's equally as nihilistic, I think, as the Mother Horse Eye's desire to pleasure oneself, this lustful pleasure. But in the Mother Horse Eye series, this pleasure is very much so like a commentary on all pleasure that one could have. And certainly, it's not to say that this isn't also what the Mother of Truth or the snake as a whole is talking about. But I think it's one of them. It's definitely one of them. And it's not a pleasure, a greed that has been lost on people. I think many have spoken about the relationship between the power of consumption, the Mother of Truth and the snakes, all these different things. I guess like the remaining question you could ask is, what is its purpose? Why does it try so hard to get people to consume? And I think the question is very simple. What would a world-devouring entity want in those who live in that world to be just like it? That's why I think that the god-devouring serpent is very close to this world-devouring serpent. It could even be the same one. We don't know. But we know for sure there is an abyssal serpent, and that this serpent that lives within Mesmer is very much so related to the same serpent that Rykard had fed himself to. We see eggs in the portrait. Rykard is being devoured by the serpent. And I don't think that it's multiple serpents. It could be. It could be that these multiple serpents will eat each other, and that one will come on top and eventually devour the world. But I think like what they want us to remember is that this serpent that is seen on, I think it's called like the Blasphemous Club or some shit like that, Blasphemous Hammer, has the world being pushed into the serpent's mouth. And I think that what this really truly means is that the serpent is requiring that the people who are pushing the world into its maw are just as low as it, are just as spiteful as it, evil, malevolent as it. It wants a population that wants it to devour the world. Not one that fears it, but one that acknowledges that this world needs to be given to something. And I think that probably is the reason why in the world of Elden Ring there was a religion on Mount Gelmir associated with snakes in the ancient past. And I'm of the belief that this religion was a religion of competition, one that pit people against one another, and they may have died out, they may have turned to other means of gaining power, but most certainly they never lost this notion that there is a serpent within every person that lives, and that this serpent is forever hungry, and that it will continue to hunger, to be jealous, to be writhing in anticipation for the day that it will grow strong enough to devour everything. And only through the sacrifice that we give to it will it get closer to that goal. And I really do think that this theory could also be related to the Mother of Truth. Because what also runs within the serpent, other than blood? Sure, it's cold blood, but it's blood nonetheless. And the cursed of them all would always be the serpent when it comes to those who are from the land of the Earth Tree. We know that the Colosseum warriors wore bronze serpents because the people delighted in seeing the serpents being beaten, being cursed. Probably because of Mesmer, knowing that he had purged an entire population on behest of his mother, and that he wanted all the maledictions associated with him to be passed on to him, not to his mother. And I really do think that as a result, the serpent was therein cursed. And because of this curse that was given to the snake, I think that was the point in which the formless mother and the snake became one. And maybe even possibly, it may have always been like that. And the Mother of Truth just needed an excuse to give the word. Because, I mean, hey, why not? I don't know. It's just something I think about, you know, all the time. All the time. And, it keeps me up because I don't quite know what her deal is, why she tries so hard to do all of that. And I find my answers through through this speculation. I think I get closer to it every day within this mind space that I've created. But, you know, just a theory, a game theory, in fact. But I would like to know how you guys think in the comments, or wherever you see this. Because I know a lot of you have questions when it comes to the nature of Morris Mother. I think I'll title this video, I rant about Elden Ring lore. Yeah. Well, okay, we got the pig pen done. And I also said I would make a fishing hut. So I'm thinking, like, over here. And I could build, like, a bridge over there and, like, over here. And I was thinking, like, I could make, like, one of those, like, boat houses that, like, have, like, a dock, like, inside the thing. I was thinking that. Or I could, like, make it, like, on stilts. Like, right here. Or something like that. You know, like right here, it's over there. And have, like, a dock at the bottom. Certainly. Sorry, my nose is a little bit stuffy. I don't know why, I think it might be allergies, but, yeah. But, let me take a 5-minute break. So I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Right. Let me take a rest. Let me think. Hmm. I think oak would be good. Let me put away this stuff. Um. Maybe jungle actually. Or maybe bamboo? Can these be stripped? Oh, they can. How much different are they from this? Oh. Okay. Hmm. Maybe like bamboo fences. Hmm. Oh, but of course. Then actually, maybe if the bridges are made out of oak, maybe I won't make it out of oak. I wish there was a woodcutter tool in this game. Honestly, I do. Where did my scaffolding go? I like more of it. I left it somewhere. Okay. So here, I want to put a bridge. Maybe I should put it here. Yeah. Like it. Okay. Then over here, do the same. Okay, cool. Now, let's see. It's a nice color. But now I need a complementary color. Let's see, what would go well with this? Well, certainly this will be like defense. Thinking maybe dark oak. That's spruce. What's that doing there? Hmm. Maybe not bamboo fence, maybe... Hmm. I could just pick mangrove wood. Yeah, I think all these together kind of go well. Somehow. Just gotta think about it. think maybe some bricks will also go well. Dark. It's nice to now have like this swamp done. Took forever to make too. Had to like grow a bunch of trees. I think I burned through like maybe 50 to 100 trees. I didn't quite keep count. But it was sure a lot. I know that. Okay. So I do want to build a house like close to the coast but not on it. Up to here. Let's see. They want the walls to be that or maybe dark oak. Yeah, dark oak walls. Let's see. This would be a corner. Whoops. Hmm. You see, now I kind of want to make it out of jungle wood. But the bricks don't quite go with that. Have to replace with cobblestone then. Gotta make that that path cleaner. See, but I do actually want a fireplace in here. Just a cute little fireplace. Nothing special. And then maybe... yeah, but not quite. Maybe mangrove was the play all along. Maybe the jungle look can be like the flooring. Now that I think about it, there isn't a lot of blocks. There ain't a lot of blocks that go with jungle. You think about it, not really. Can I take this out? Can't. Maybe like on the corners it could be like dark oak. Yeah. Now I see why this was here. I think I have a spare bed somewhere in a chest. I think I'll dye it green. Hmm. What would the roof be made out of? Be tough. Maybe like tough and wool. Or maybe not wool, maybe like an out there block, like calcite. Do we have any calcite? Surely I do somewhere. Yeah. Maybe not tough. Maybe like deep slate. Maybe. Actually, let me try. Let me try tough. I don't want it to look too much like the house, but kind of like adjacent to it. So, okay, follow me here. Actually, let me move it this way. Let's see, go like this. It's a full block, but I think it makes a nice, unique roof. And once you're up here, well, I don't have a slab, but I would put a slab there. For now, I'll put that. With this, I can also put in some diorite. Not calcite. I don't know, I just think it just looks unique. I like it. Maybe I should replace the bottom part of that with tough. Maybe not though. I do want to add stuff to it. Maybe stone brick instead? Hmm. Nah, keep it cobblestone. Let's do some math here. Hmm. Like yeah, I guess the Calce idea fell flat on his face, didn't it? Oh well. Live and learn. Well, actually, maybe I can make the house out of calcite itself. Yeah, I should kind of like that. Or the other one. Ow. Then maybe... in there could be like... mangrove wood? Hmm. Yeah, I need that slab to put everything together. Yeah. Okay. Hmm. I don't love it, but, you know, can't do much about it. Okay. Now for this. We have ladders for that. A chest. Surely I have chests somewhere. Too close to that. I just used the full bamboo then. Or maybe... No, I'll use maybe birch. Yep, and... There you go. Got a place to put my boat now. Well, I think on my own time I'll finish this up. Did a lot today, but I think it was all worth it. Got a little rant out of it as well. So, if you enjoyed all that and want to hear more, like and subscribe, follow on Twitch. I love y'all very much, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.